And so my mindset going in is, number one, it's not for me. I've been given this as a gift. I simply am a steward, and I'm here to release and deliver that which I've been entrusted with. And if you're here in this moment, then this is your time.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
Welcome back to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, Chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And it's an honor for us to be with you here today in the studio. In our last episode, if you tuned in to that, we went through a framework that we use to execute remarkable events, which is all about making an impact in the lives of the people who you have been called to serve, as well at the same time growing your business and your reach. And that's what we are picking up with here today. There's a very simple framework, and today is part 2. Today we get to talk about execution. The simple framework is plan, prepare, promote, execute, and then follow through and follow up. Today we're going to go with part 4 in this process, which is the execute. And how do Dr. Stephen and myself, how do we execute? And what does that look like for us to show up? What is our mindset? What's your mindset, Doc, before you show up when you execute an event? And Dr. Stephen, you and I, we get to have a conversation today. And of course, for us, we're coming right into our immersion, big immersion, mid-year immersion season with our conversion, day 1, retention, day 2, 2 full-day immersion happening in Nashville in the U.S. and in Sydney in Australia. And so we are primed and ready. So this is a very, very relevant conversation for you and I to have. And of course, I know as listeners, for you to be in, because of course you are also equally yoked with the commission of educating your community. Because as a chiropractor, we really have 2 things we do. We educate and we adjust. And education in the forum of an event is a key skill that we all need to grow in.
I love this conversation, Dr. Pete, because it gives us an opportunity to remind all of the CEOs out there that we are in it with you, right? So there's not a couple of dudes, sitting around all week long, waiting for Friday to roll around for us to get in the studio and pontificate about the good old days, right? We love to tell war stories because we want to remind you guys that we are tour guides, not travel agents. So tour guides are people that show you around a community that they know really well. Right? They've been along the highways and byways. They know every cobble on the cobblestone way, right? So you're talking to a couple of guys who are speaking from experience, right? So at the same time, we are in it with you, right? So we're running businesses, right? So we're running a very busy chiropractic coaching business, which is just a huge blessing. And a big part of our responsibility is just like the big part of your responsibility, right? Which is marketing, right? And I believe just with an on-purpose organization, an on-mission organization, marketing is educating. Educating is marketing, right? So if you're really in the business to solve problems, right? So you're there to educate people and be able to say, understand this is exactly what you need to start doing and stop doing, right? So for us, it's the same thing. This is a marketing conversation, right? So whenever we're talking about events, doing an event or a live event, what have you, just know that it's equal parts delivering our product, right? Delivering on our promise to our clients, and also marketing, right? So we at all times have to sell you guys into starting doing the things you're supposed to be doing to build the practice of your dreams and stop doing the things that are derailing you, just like we have to do with patients, right? So patients, don't think that once they start care, the marketing part of it is over, right? So that's really just the table stakes to begin the process of patient education. You need to get them to constantly be buying in to investing in their health, start doing the things that they have to do, stop doing the things that are killing them, right? So this is all about changing the way people think, right? Because ultimately to get different outcomes, they have to change their behaviors. In order to change their behaviors, you got to change their belief system, their thought process, the way they think, right? So, and so much of that just comes down to communication, Dr. Pete. So this framework is just so important. This plan, prepare, promote, execute, and follow through. I hope that framework really helps you guys. This is a tick box, and there's a lot underneath each one of those. In this series here, we're just unpacking 2 of those 5. We talked about preparing on the last episode. If you haven't heard that yet, make sure you check it out after this one. There's no real necessarily sequence. You have to listen to these in. And then today we're going to focus on the execution process. I like to think about, the big question is what's in your head, what's going on in your head when you are executing, right? So like just before you take the stage, while you're on the stage, while you're interacting with people just after you've gotten off the stage, it's like literally what's in your head? What are you thinking? What's the mindset, right? So I know, for me, I so enjoy working so closely with you. I mean, not just on this podcast, but like when we're at our live events, man, brother, I love taking the stage with you, right? So it's like, I know when I surf with people that are better, they stretch me and we end up surfing in better places, and we go out on bigger days and we take off on more technical waves. And, when we're surfing together, it just elevates each other's game, man. I just love that. And I heard that when you golf with somebody who's really good, your golfing game improves. I would have no reference there, but I always know that that's true in everything we do. I love working out with people who are a step or 2 ahead of me. It just brings out the best of me. So, man, that's how I feel every time I get to work with you. I love taking the stage with you, man, because you just raise the bar, because I know you do this 5-part process so well. Like This is ingrained in you. You're not even doing it consciously at this point. The plan, prepare, promote, execute, and follow through. But I think that it'd be hugely valuable to all our listeners if we could get inside of that noggin of yours and give us a sense of what is going on in your mind just before you take the stage, while you're in front of that group, presenting, and then what happens on the backside of that as far as the follow through goes.
Well, before I jump into that, I need to say that I feel the exact same. When I first met you, actually, my first experience of Dr. Steven, of you, was actually you speaking out on the stage. We were at ChiroFest. It was 2017. And I remember listening to you and how, just incredibly powerful you were as a speaker, how connected you were to the audience, how intelligent you were in just your understanding of what you were doing, how much you cared about what it was that you were teaching, how much you had a fluency in that, and how you executed and delivered and just really commanded that room and that stage. And so from that moment, I thought, man, that cat, he knows what he's doing. And then I was listening to your content. I said, hey, you just gave the talk that I'm about to give tomorrow. He was speaking Friday, I was speaking Saturday. It's like, that's not fair. But so we met in the vendor area, and anyway, we chatted there, and ever since then we've become good friends. But I immediately thought, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, and he's an incredible speaker. So first of all, I just want to thank you for your leadership in our profession. There's no one better out there. There's no better speaker out there than you. And you're just an incredible speaker, and the art of it. And I know now that I've gotten to work with you, I know how much you care about it and how much time you pour into preparation. And so the execution part, it's like I tell my kids, I'm like, hey, we practice really, really hard. When it's game time, go have some fun. Go have fun. And honestly, that's my mindset. It's like, dude, you worked so freaking hard to get to this point in your career, in your life, in this moment. Go have fun. Like, just go out there, man, and let it rip. Let it rip. And that's what we do. And so,
that's exactly right. I got goosebumps when you said that, man. That's exactly right. Just let it rip. Let go. Yes. And just let it rip.
One of the things that Dr. Steven helped me prepare to be, I think, a good speaker. One of the things was some of my first coaches and mentors. We trained hard. Like, we really worked hard on our communication, and we had to do it in front of them. Like, it was very uncomfortable. It was really hard. But what that did was it actually made me get so uncomfortable, because I knew that it wasn't great. It was okay. And they were going to let me know about that. But I appreciated the fact that at the beginning, it really started with me is inserting myself into an environment where I was going to get coaching and get feedback on how I executed and delivered. And I remember there were times, Dr. Stephen, where we had this thing where, we did group report of findings. And if I was to tell you we had a full group every time, then I'd be lying. So there were times where we had a group report, let's say on a Tuesday night, we had 4 or 5 financials that were supposed to be in the class. And there were a few times in my career where either one person would show up or 0. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a bit of an ego and I'm a little bit prideful. I think I've matured a little bit, but I still struggle. And those nights, it was like a punch in the gut, so freaking hard because, they went through the day one, they went through your process and they're like, here I am the whole day preparing and visualizing for these families. I could see them sitting in the room and this woman's bringing her husband and she said he's not a believer in chiropractic. And I was like, I visualized that guy sitting there. And then I this was pre-Facebook too. So I couldn't scroll and look what is her husband's name? And let me check out his Facebook. Oh, he likes pickup trucks. I'm going to speak about pickup trucks in my workshop. I didn't even have that insight. So it was like, I would visualize who was going to be in the class. So if no one showed, and I remember I committed to say, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. So I would literally do my report to an empty room on Tuesday night. Even though my wife and family was at home, I was like, I could be home earlier today, whatever, let my team go. Like, nope, we're doing it. And I would do it. And whether it was an audience of 1 or an audience of 0. And here's my first thing in mindset. Speak to an audience of 1. I don't care whether you got 600 people, 300 people, 30 people, or 3. Doesn't matter. There's one person that's in that room every single time, and speak to each one of those individual people. And what trained me was that I would actually put the name of my coaches and mentors on the seats in the back row. And I always imagine they're in this work, they're giving it, and they're going to say, Pete, did you give it your all? Did you tell the truth? Did you give it an unfiltered, unwatered down message? Did you withhold anything from the people? And I had that mentality that was my standard. That was the mindset. So there was that going into a workshop or going into and what's crazy is I actually visualized it so much that I would have these people, my mentors eventually showed up at we did our advanced talks. We'd have 300, 400, 500 people show up to a monthly advanced workshop. We had to rent out hotel ballrooms just for my monthly workshops. And that only happened because I spoke to no one when no one showed up. And when that happened, something shifted in me because you realized it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it no matter what, whether 1 or 0 or 350 show, we're going to do it. And so my mindset going in is, number 1, it's not for me. I've been given this as a gift. I simply am a steward and I'm here to release and deliver that which I've been entrusted with. And if you're here in this moment, then this is your time. And this is our time. And so there's 3 things I really think about. Number 1, if you're here, you're in the right place. Everybody that's there, you're in the right place. Because there's, like you said, Dr. Stephen, there's hundreds of other places you could be right now, but you're here and I'm here. So you're in the right place.
That's right.
Number 2, it's wicked hard out there. Now I picked that up from Dr. Stephen. But life is hard. Being healthy is hard. Running a practice is hard. It's freaking hard. But it's worth it. And I know right now, wherever you're at, it's hard. You might be dressed up nice, have a smile, and have your nice coffee and everything's going good right now. But deep down inside, it's hard. It is hard. But it's worth it. And so I know that the person that's in there is in the fight. In other words, if you came to my health workshop, you're in the fight. You're trying to help your children be healthier. If you're in a chiropractic seminar, you're trying to help your team get a little bit better. You're trying to help just a few more people in your community. You want to just get your practice to be slightly better than even it is now. But it's hard. But you're in the fight. And I want to run with people that are in the fight. And I'm going to say, I'm with you. And number 3, and I love this quote. It was, do not treat people based on their history, but based on their destiny. In other words, you may come in limping. You may come in like, I've been cutting corners. I've been eating Doritos and drinking Dr. Pepper. I'm coming in like I ain't been doing the day one script. I've been bypassing the day two. I'm just converting them on day one. Whatever it is, you may come limping in, but I don't treat you based on your history, but based on your destiny. In other words, I see the potential that God has put on your life. And I'm going to speak to the future you now. And that's who I'm speaking to. And when I speak to your destiny, I actually pull you into your destiny. I pull you from lagging and from cutting corners and from whatever. And I get you back up on your feet. And I get you taking a step forward, moving towards you into your destiny. Those are the three things.
I love it, man. And I love it that framework and those intentions needed no content or context, right? So it was like literally, you name the subject matter, you name the audience, those three bullets don't change, right? So it's like, I'm sorry, who are we talking to? And what are they here for? What are they trying to accomplish? What are their problems they're trying to solve? What are their goals they're trying to reach? Is there a title? Is there a title to this talk? Okay, what's the subject matter? Okay, am I ready? Like, mic me up, let's go. like literally, that's so powerful and so beautiful, and transfers and translates across every listener right near. And some people might stop and say, whoa, I kind of got caught up with what Dr. Pete was saying there. Remind me again, is this a Remarkable CEO podcast? I thought this was Chiropractic's #1 business podcast. Like, yeah, yes, it is. And you're in the right place. So you're in the business of saving lives. And when business is good, everybody wins. So we have to recognize that this is business. Okay. So at the end of the day, you can only help those that you attract, right? And you can only convert those that you attract, and that you can only retain those that you convert, right? So it's like, we can only help the people we retain. Well, we can only retain the people that we convert, and we can only convert the people we attract, right? So you can see this beautiful cycle of like, this is the business, right? So this is the practice of chiropractic, and this message, man, learning how to become the messenger, because marketing is just that. It's just a message, and marketing is messaging, being the messenger, right? So you are the marketer, you are the messenger. So as a CEO, you might be asking yourself, it's like, am I the messenger, right? Am I the champion of this message in the community? Okay, so what does that mean? It means you need to get clear on what that message is. And then you got to make sure that that message gets in front of the people, gets to the people, speaks into their listening, and resonates with the people that you want to attract, right? So as a CEO, you've got to check that. Let's make sure we got our story right. Let's make sure that we get our brand promise, our messaging right. Let's check, right? So, and that should all be based on my purpose, okay? That should be based on my mission, and should be based on the avatar or the muse that we talked about in that last episode of like, who do I want to attract in here? Okay, check. Then now who is going to be in charge of delivering that message internally, externally, digitally, being super clear on that? That's the business aspect of this. Like, somebody's got to be the promoter. Who's doing it internally? Like, somebody's got to be that external marketer. Who is that person that goes out in the community that increases the reach? Is that you, CEO? As the owner of the business, you might say to yourself, well, I'm supposed to like have leveraged operations, so I'm going to hire other people to do that. That might be true for you. Or it may be the highest and best use of that 1 or 2 hours a week for you. You got to ask yourself that. I'm not telling you it is. For me, it was. For Dr. Pete, I think you figured out already, it was. Right? It's like, yeah, raise my hand. I'm like, I'll do that. I'll go do that. I wasn't the only person that would go out in the community and speak, but I knew that that was a really high use of my time, right? So that was best and high use of my time. The ROI was extraordinary. So for me, Dr. Pete, in preparation, as I get ready to execute, just those minutes before I get in front of an audience, before I get in front of a crowd, Roberto Monaco is a phenomenal speaking coach. And I heard him speaking on this once, and he really unpacked it for me. I just really appreciated something that he said was, our preparation is so hard. Like, we prepare so well. We're so well prepared showing up that just before the talk, we don't have to be fumbling through our notes or thinking about, we've already trained on our opening. We've trained on our body. We've trained on our clothes. Like, so we have that down. It's a song we're going to sing, right? So you got to clear the mechanism at that point. And about a half an hour before I take any stage, I'm only focused on the audience. I want to know who's here. Okay. Who's here and what are the goals that they're trying to reach? What are the problems that they're trying to solve? And spending all of my mind share, really making that empathetic connection, even if it's a subconscious and virtual empathetic connection with these people. I know that they're going to pick up on that when I'm on the stage, delivering and executing that message, right? So if you can get yourself and your focus shifted away from yourself, your content, your delivery, if you're thinking about yourself, if you're self-centered at that point, that's where your physiology can go sideways and you can get nervous and anxious, and it's going to, your physiology primes your performance and your performance drives your outcomes, right? So if you want to get a handle on that, I know I used to get all worked up. Before I spoke. Man, it's just like really, like it was like to point, I was like, sometimes I couldn't even breathe, right? So that anxiety would take me over. And I just recognized I'm focused on myself here. And as soon as I recognize, it's like, I care about these people. I love these people. I want to help these people. Check. I just wasn't focused on them before I started speaking. So it was that shifting that focus to the audience and just recognizing that they are here for their own wants and needs. If I focus on that and delivering that, next thing you know, all that anxiety just turns to excitement. Right. So those butterflies that you get before you go and present and speak, that never goes away. I hope it never goes away, because I think it's just a symptom of giving a shit. Like at the end of the day, do you care? Right. So you're going to have those butterflies, right? But the physiology of anxiousness and anxiety is almost the exact same physiology as excitement. And the only difference between those two is an attitude. Right. And if your attitude is, man, I just get to give, love, and serve, and the way I'm going to do that is through the messaging and delivering the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I love how you say showing up with a message that I have to get off my chest. I love when you say that. It's like so visceral to me to hear that is exactly how I feel. I'm showing up here with a message that I have to get off my chest. Think about that. Like that's what your outside talk should be. That's what your workshop should be. That's what your advancement, your messaging has to be. I have to get this off my chest. Like I don't do workshops and outside talks to deliver a message into my community because I have a business. I have a business so that I have a platform to deliver my message. Like you've got to make that shift, right? And just recognize that you're the messenger, and the people that are receiving it have shown up and they have wants and needs, and you have to be speaking into those wants and needs. You have to be focused on them and focus on getting the message to them. And Dr. Pete, the last thing I'll say on this is I always operate with a firm foundation. I always have granite under my feet. And the truth is it's a swing thought that I use every opportunity, every time. It's a privilege to be able to address an audience, whether I'm talking to lay people, I'm talking to my patients, I'm talking to my clients, prospective new clients, whoever I'm talking to. My swing thought is always this: if these people would just simply do what I tell them to do, their lives will get better. I know with 100% certainty, based on our experience, not just what we've done in our practices, but teaching and showing tens of thousands of patients, and now thousands of chiropractors with their hundreds of thousands of patients. We know from experience, there's knowledge, there's wisdom here that we're sharing. This is what you need to start doing. This is what you need to stop doing. Okay. And we know that if they would simply do what we tell them to do, their lives would get better.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
Hello, remarkable CEOs. This is Dr. Eric DiMartino. I am a TRP coach, and I'm excited that we're joined in studio today with Dr. Jason Green from Simple. All right, we're gonna start that one over. Simplified Functional Medicine. That's it, right? It's Simplified Functional Medicine.
You got it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right, we'll start again. Hey, remarkable CEOs. This is Dr. Eric DiMartino. I am a TRP coach, and I'm excited that we're joined in studio today with Dr. Jason Green from Simplified Functional Medicine. Simplified Functional Medicine is one of our remarkable success partners, and we're so appreciative of them because, like all our success partners, they help our doctors serve more people. They provide the services our doctors need to get out, to reach more people, and expand the chiropractic impact into our community. So thank you, Dr. Jason, for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Dr. Eric. I appreciate it. Excited to be here in front of the audience and to share our message and help more doctors help more patients.
Love it, man. Love it. So tell our listeners, tell who are you and what does your company do?
Yeah, so I am. My name is Dr. Jason Green. I'm a chiropractor. I'm out of the greater Philadelphia area. My business partners, Dr. Andrew Wells, is out of North Carolina. Dr. Chad Woolner out of Boise, Idaho. We formed about 3 years ago. We formed a business called Simplified Functional Medicine, and it stemmed from having tried functional medicine in a couple practices and realizing the complexity that's involved with functional medicine, but yet the overwhelming need to help our patients with a truly holistic methodology for getting them better. And so we recognize that chiropractic is a vitalistic, holistic treatment strategy. And a lot of times people look at it as a mechanical treatment strategy, unfortunately. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to synergize some solution packages that chiropractors and holistic practitioners can plug in and install in their practice and deploy without interrupting what they do on day in and day out basis. So really it's designed to, even though you can run it yourself as a business owner, as a CEO, it's really designed for your team to be run. So we take your team by the hand, we onboard your teammates, non-licensed, licensed teammates, whoever you want to run the program, and we help you get patients better faster and help them stay better longer.
Great. And so, as we always telling our CEO docs that we want to have more impact, but we don't want it to be coming out of our time and our energy as much as possible. We want to leverage ourselves, right? Leverage is a huge word we use with our CEOs. And so you said that the team can do it. So is this something that it won't take a lot of the CEO's time to implement this successfully in their practice?
Well, I mean, I think that's Dr. Eric. I think that's one of the main attractive points for this community is the fact that this does not have to be owner run, and in fact, most of the time it's not owner run. It is designated to a teammate. The teammate can train on it. The teammate can run it. And yes, the CEO or the individual that's above the business has an understanding of what's going on, but you don't have to master this. And truthfully, the person that's running this, Dr. Eric, doesn't have to have a mastery in functional medicine, whether they're new to functional medicine, experienced in functional medicine, looking to build out a virtual presence and expand the service offering of the clinic or help more patients. We can train that person to be able to do that. So we have the clinical systems, the business systems, and the marketing system to be able to drive new patients through your door to help you help more patients.
That's huge because, like I said, a lot of CEOs don't have the time. A lot of docs I talk to, they're interested in functional medicine. They think they know it helps a lot of people, but they're like, I'm not going to go back to school to get a functional medicine degree, right? I don't have the time
No,
or the desire to do that.
no, and the hard part is if you try and piecemeal it or salad bar it, Dr. Eric, it's one of those things that you just run into workflow nightmares, right? So you're carrying this massive amount of inventory. You're trying to figure out how you're going to workflow it into your interactions with patients when, again, we have limited time with patients as is. And now all of a sudden you're going to be pushing various sorts of inventory and figuring out what are the triggers to be able to push that inventory. We figured out those problems and we've created solutions around those problems so you guys don't have to. Again, you pay for time or you pay for speed. We want you to have all the time back in your day. We want you to have all of the speed it takes to get patients better and to have another revenue source in your clinic.
Great. And so if I were to join as a doctor to work with you guys, what does that look like? What is the process? Functional medicine could be a lot of things, right? It can be lab tests, it can be supplements, it can be diet changes. How do you guys address a full spectrum of different conditions, or is it something you specialize in certain things?
Yeah, great question. So we take the most chronic conditions out there: thyroid and hormone imbalances, digestive issues, depression, mood disorders, weight loss resistance, autoimmune, fatigue, sleep issues, and we've created protocols around helping those. And so the way that this happens is that if you raise your hand and say, hey, I'm interested in simplified functional medicine, we set up a discovery call. We learn a little bit about you, your business, your wants, your needs, your goals. And from there, if it makes sense, then we hop on another quick call where we discuss the system. And so if the system makes sense to you and you onboard with us, it is a 5-step to 7-step onboarding process where we hold your hand or the designated teammate's hand, going through the members area, training through all of the resources that we have for you guys, and really making sure that you're set up and ready to go and you're ready to launch typically between 30 and 45 days after enrolling. So again, you don't have to master the system in order to run the system. We teach you the framework, we teach your teammate the framework, and then they run it, and we are here to support them. So we have group coaching calls throughout the week. We have individual coaching calls. We have case study and design calls. We have marketing strategy calls. We have patient communication and training calls. So there's a lot of resources you have at your disposal to make sure that you guys get and feel comfortable to be able to help patients reach their desired outcome and make your clinic a lot more money.
Yeah, that's great. We love the idea of helping more people and getting paid more as a result of that, right? It's a win-win for everybody. So when it's, when clients come in and start working with you, is there specific like conditions that you recommend starting to work with that are maybe a little simpler for a new office, or how do you guys handle that or recommend that?
Well, I mean, the beauty of it is that in any chiropractic clinic, 70% of your patients are going to have these type of conditions. I mean, there's 174 million people that have these sorts of common conditions that I outlined earlier. The good news is that the framework to treat the thyroid conditions is the same framework that it is to treat depression, and same framework that it is to treat autoimmune and fatigue. It's not the same exact clinical protocol, but it's the same framework, right? And if you're running the system, because again, we're very much process driven, we're very much system driven. That's how you're going to scale any business. You run the system. And so if you run the system, you follow the framework, you will get the desired outcome and you won't create any distraction in your clinic. So to answer your question, the long and short of it is no, there's not one specific condition that we recommend that you go after first because it's easier, because the whole design is that it's simplified and that it's all easy.
That's great. And so I'm just thinking personally, like one of my fears, I'm sure a lot of your new clients' fears is that, I got this chiropractic thing down really well, right? I've been doing it for 22 years. I can do it all without even thinking about it. But for something new like functional medicine, I'd be personally concerned. It's like, are they going to get results, right? I really am not an expert around this. Yeah, I can follow a system, but are they going to get really good results? Because I'm very confident in my ability to get results with chiropractic care. But my fear would be, can I do it with functional medicine? So how do you, what do you guys, well, I guess speak to your experience around that with new clients like myself that might be a little worried about that.
Yeah, great. I mean, it's a sheer volume, right? Sheer data aggregation of what we've done and the amount of patients that we've been able to help throughout the last several years of doing this and showing us the trends. And honestly, Dr. Eric, the program wasn't perfect when we rolled it out, and it's not perfect now. No program is perfect, but we're constantly reinvesting in infrastructure to make it better and to get even better outcomes. So it doesn't matter what program we go down. We are confident that based on the nature of our functional medicine protocols, our lifestyle protocols, the health and wellness protocols that are baked into the patient journey, you guys will be able to get optimal outcomes. And if you don't get optimal outcomes, let's say we get a patient 50, 60, 70% better, and there's still that remaining 30 or 40%, we have transitional programs that go on from there that address that. And so now all of a sudden you're taking this foundational program, you're having the patient go through, let's say 60, 90, or even 180-day program to get themselves better. Now all of a sudden we have the piece to wrap up the complexity that's on the very end of that. So to answer your question, I would say that it's more through experience, and we're putting together now data aggregation for research to show efficacy behind these protocols. And once that's there, then obviously you'll have the black and white blueprint for it.
Great. And for somebody like myself that's a novice to this, I'm assuming it's pretty turnkey. Like you pretty much give everything from the beginning to the end, all the resources that our offices would need to implement this successfully.
Yeah, and we're consistently striving to do more, right? So we're giving you all the collateral, we're giving you marketing to drive new patients to the door. We're giving you everything you need, from business support to clinical support to marketing support and much more. And so that's our goal, is to make this as turnkey as possible. And truthfully, we're new in the TRP community, even though we're all chiropractors. We're relatively new. We've been with you guys for about a year now. And so the clients that have come on board from TRP, I don't say this arrogantly, but you guys are good operators, because the framework that you guys teach them is such that they become good operators. So we pride ourselves on saying, hey, we are kind of similar to TRP, just in our space of services, right? And so that being said, if you can operate well in the TRP platform, you operate well in our platform, and the clients that are coming over from you guys are just crushing it. They have part-time or full-time CAs or health coaches that are coming on and running the program for them, and they get to sit back and collect an extra 10, 20, 30, $40,000 in revenue that is, I don't want to say passive, but relatively passive for them. And they're able to help more patients get better outcomes. So it's a win-win-win across the board.
Love it, man. That's great. And you guys handle all the marketing too, correct? You'll show them how to do it, either whether it's print or social media ads, like you'll help give them all those resources as well?
We'll do it for them. Yeah.
Oh, you actually do it for them. What does that look like?
So we have, to a certain degree, we have marketing baked into our platform. And so if you guys set up a discovery call, I'll show you exactly what that means and how we help to drive more new patients through your door through using our proprietary marketing systems.
Yeah. That's great. And we always talk about ROI in the remarkable practice, right? We want to do lots of things, but we want to make sure that we're getting an ROI for it, because some people say things, well, that's expensive, and expensive is very it's a vague term, right? If I spend $10,000 a month on marketing, that may sound expensive, but if it's getting me $30,000 or $40,000 in business, it's worth it every single time, right? So do you guys track, like, as a client coming in, the typical ROI that they could expect to see by using your program?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if we're not getting you a 6 or 7 to 1 return on your investment, it doesn't make sense. And so a 7 to 1 is a couple clients every month are coming in, and you're converting those clients. We're going to show you how to prospect in your office, survey appropriately. That's the gold that's underneath your feet, the ones that are already coming through your door. And then when there's new external clients coming through your door, turning over, so you're significantly profitable. So yes, I mean, we average anywhere between, let's say, $12,000 and $28,000 in revenue. And that is 10 times more, 20 times more than what you're paying every month for the subscription just to be a member with us. So yeah.
I love to see the ROIs there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the next step for our listeners to connect with you and learn more about how you guys can help them?
Yeah, great question. So www.simplifiedfunctionalmedicine.com. Please be advised, we're going through a website overhaul. The new one is coming out here in the next week or two. So depending on when you land on the site, you will get prompted, but there is simply a book a discovery call button there. You book a discovery call. That's no obligation. That's 15 minutes you get to spend on the phone with one of our teammates. And again, that's really about you to understand what it is you're looking for. And if it makes sense, then we take next steps and we go on from there. So it's really a non-assertive, non-obligatory call. So
just like anything else, we want to make sure it's a win-win, right? It's a win
Exactly
for
right.
the client and win for you guys, so you guys can work together to help more people.
Exactly right.
That's great, Jason. So thanks so much for taking your time. Thank you so much for being a remarkable success partner. Like I said, we couldn't do and have the impact we do with our clients if it wasn't for you guys helping support us and supporting all our remarkable CEOs, so we can help more people. Help more people. That's what we're here for. So thanks so much for being here today, Dr. Jason.
You're very welcome. You guys are just an incredible group. It's not only the service that you guys offer, but just who you are as people is just, it's incredible. So keep doing what you guys are doing. So blessed to be a part of this and excited to help more doctors, help more patients.
Thanks, Doc. So again, to learn more about Simplified Functional Medicine, it's simplifiedfunctionalmedicine.com. Reach out. You can set up a discovery call and see if it's a good fit for you guys in your practice. So Remarkables, remember to tune in each week to our Remarkable CEO podcast. Everyone have a blessed day, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.